What's up, everyone? Thralls and Metal back again with another album review. I'm Shredlord.
Necrotic Nick.
Jammin, John.
And today we are bringing you the solo album from Hannes Grossman. The album in question, To Where the Light Retreats.
This came out on the 3rd of June. This is an independent release, so no label associated with this. This is actually Hans's 4th solo album, which I did not know. And for those who don't know who Hannes Grossman is, he is an incredible drummer that is associated with a litany of acts. Formerly of Obscura, plays in Triptychon, Blotted Science, formerly of Hate Eternal. He was actually on their last album.
Necrophagus.
He is in a lot of bands, or has been in a lot of bands. And this is, I guess, entirely his project as far as songwriting and musical construction. Now, there are plenty of other players on here. We have Linus Klausenitzer. He is of Alkaloid, also ex-Obscura. Guitarist Danny Tunker, who is formerly of God Dethroned and Aborted. Several leads on here done by Christian Muenzer.
There you go. Good job.
Close
buddy.
enough. I'm sorry, dude. Ex-Obscura as well, and I believe he has also played in Alkaloid as well. A lot of bands.
Necrophagus.
Yeah, Necrophagus as well. And the vocals are done by V. Centura, who is a member of Dark Fortress. And I believe there is another vocalist on here who just does one song who is also a member of Dark Fortress. So you have tapped a lot of bands on here. And I've put together quite a lineup. And this is progressive, technical death metal, I guess you call it that.
Yeah, I think that's a safe assumption with this.
I called it thrashy, melodic, blackened death metal.
I mean, the first track,
Yeah.
The Great Designer, which I don't know if they're referring to Hans, but if this is his construction, great is an accurate word.
Yeah.
Very thrashy right out of the gate. Like, I was kind of surprised the opening riff. Actually, the whole setup kind of reminded me of Metallica's Blackened.
Yep. Like, almost spot
It's
on.
very, very close.
Yep.
But, I mean, you know, if you're going to borrow a really great song, and that is a solid lead in, and it doesn't stay with that. It actually kind of goes all over the place, but I was surprised that thrash seemed to be like the main mode of this opening track.
Yeah. Well, it appears actually throughout the record. It fairly elemental, really. I mean, I'll say just for the most part, the band in its entirety throughout reminds me a lot of Gorod.
Yeah, actually, Gorod is a very good comparison because when it comes down to tech metal, I'm kind of picky, mainly because sometimes you get too much wankery. Sometimes like, I get like a billion notes here. That's cool. Are they memorable? These guys know how to craft melodies, bring in groove. They also want to write like big songs, not just stuff to, do wankery over. There's plenty of cool solos all over this, but they're spaced out appropriately. They give you riffs, they give you hooks, and that is the thing I like about this style of tech death.
As easily as this group of talented musicians could have probably just jerked themselves off for 50 minutes and it still sounded good, I think the way Hans constructed these songs was done in a way that actually felt like a song. It wasn't just, let's see how crazy and chaotic I can be. It's, let's see how creative songwriting-wise I can be.
Right, let's see how creative within the chaos it can be, because I don't want to state that it's not chaotic. There's a lot going on.
It's
in
very
these
well
songs.
thought out.
Yes, but they're cohesive.
Yeah.
They transition well.
It's meticulous. Like, you can tell, like, this was finely honed in terms of, like, all right, this measure has to go on for this long, but you have to come in with this lead. And it's, kind of, I would say orchestrated. That's kind of a good word for it. And Hans, clearly the guy behind it all. And when it comes down to the mix, I think Hans might have been the one. I couldn't find out who did the mix exactly, but I figure that it's his project. It's an independent release. Why wouldn't it be Hans? I know he works in the studio too.
Yeah.
And the mix is pretty good. It's definitely compressed, but this is the kind of style you want a fair amount of compression in, because with all that going in, you can't kind of overdo it with like reverb and big echoey sound.
You don't want to, because of how technical this is in spots, you don't want to downplay that. You don't want too many things to overlap.
Yeah.
You need clarity when you have that much going on. One thing I noticed about this album as well is the guitar tones were very high-end, searing. They cut through the mix and they were really sharp. That is a preference thing. Sometimes you want a little bit of warmth, but considering the rest of the vibe and production on this, I think it fit with everything else going on. This whole album had kind of a heavy compressed feel to it.
And I will say the leads too were a little bit warmer.
Yeah, no,
Then the riffs,
they really did dial in for that lead tone.
The rhythm guitar, for the most part, like I liked it. I mean, mostly I just liked what they were playing because it was really good. But the tone itself, I don't know, there was something kind of twangy about it. I think after jamming the new Alluvial, hearing Wes's tone on that album, how big and beefy, but still like very kind of warm and natural. It did spoil us a little bit. This kind of comes off maybe a little too compressed, a little too twangy. But again, it's
a little
what they're
muddy too.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing, but it's
grit, baby.
Yeah, it's grit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's death metal still.
Yep.
Now, the thing I really got into on this, and it kind of took me on the Wayback Machine, the Sun Eaters has some melodies on there that distinctly reminded me of Old In Flames back in the glory days, not the
remember when they were
days.
good?
Yeah.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
There are some really great melodies on there, and I like this cool like tech death meets that Old In Flames sound. So like Necrophagus playing Old In Flames.
And this song especially was straight Necrophagus, Necroscura.
Yeah, this one and Memento, the last track, are pretty much like hallmarks of just good tech death. Like, it's fast, it's furious, there's lots of cool riffs, some melodies going on. But again, these guys know how to craft hooks in there, and that's the big thing. It's not just a blur of notes.
And even through all the tech death madness that's going on throughout the album, it does get to a song called The Fountain that kind of puts the brakes on that for a minute and goes super melodic, and it really, really, really works. Starts off nice and airy, a la some Faceless, maybe.
Dude, Faceless, Autotheism era.
Cynic.
Yep.
And then it finally picks up into just this nice big melodic type song that you don't really hear on the rest of the album.
I really dug it.
And
the whole like mode of the songwriting kind of changed on this one. This one was more about atmosphere, tension building, big swings in terms of the dynamics. It's a very different song on here, and it favors more of the clean stuff too. Like the heavier sections are kind of used as like big accents to what's already built up with the cleans.
Yep.
And you get some kind of cynic-y vocals.
Clean, cynic-y vocals. I thought it worked.
It worked.
You get Attila vocals.
There's a blackened... The first vocals that come up, they kind of have that Attila, very dramatic... But he's doing it in key, which is really cool, too.
I did like the lead on this song.
First of all, the lead on every song.
Yeah.
Right, the lead on every song is pretty nasty.
All the lead work, the melodies are just beyond disgusting.
But this one came in kind of weird. It had like these like droning chugs.
It was. I thought it was like a big riff coming in.
Noise.
Yep, I thought it was going to be some big nasty riff. And
I think he was just fucking around with his tremolo bar making noise. But
why not?
But then it turned into like a Guthrie Govan type solo.
It started off kind of chaotic, and then it
and the
went
phrasing
right
of that.
into...
Yep. Like Guthrie Govan meets Wes Hodge. I would call The Fountain easily probably the most unique song on the album.
It stands out.
I would agree.
Yep.
I mean, outside of that, the symbolic nature of Turns and In the Glacier's Eye both had some really distinct groove-oriented moments, especially the Glacier's Eye with that very bleed-ish chuggathon that's in there, which is such a giant hook. Like, it is one of the nastiest breakdowns in this entire album. Like, they just go full-bore chuggathon, and I love it. Now, one issue I kind of had on this, and it's very minor, really, the vocals. The vocals are good, but I feel like they're kind of just, like, adequate. They're just there to pretty much add vocals. Outside of the interesting clean vocals that came in on Death in the Vast Nothing and The Fountain, in terms of that cynic-y vocoder synthesized sound, they're pretty much just kind of a standard growl. And a lot of this album is like about emoting a lot of different stuff, like taking on different styles. They didn't necessarily adapt to each style. Like they didn't get kind of thrashier when they got thrashier, or granted, when the black metal came on, it was a little bit more blackened, but I kind of wanted a little bit more of that, but still they were good.
Well, I was just going to further state on Death in the Vast Nothing, as far as overall heft in this album, another one that stood out, the opener riff on Death in the Vast Nothing is simply nasty.
Simply delicious.
Just heavy as all get out, and it's got some synthy moment. The synth, but it's really light.
Sprinkle.
You can almost, it's like a sprinkle of synth.
They're pushed in the back in the mix.
A soup soul of synth.
When they came on, I looked at Shredlord. That's kind of like a systematic chaos sort of thing, like kind of Jordan Rudess light. Like he wasn't going full bore, like, oh, I'm going to compose the whole thing. Like, no, just calm down. We just need one line. That's it.
Right, I just need you to
calm down.
I'm gonna need you to pump the brakes there, pal.
Like, sorry. But it was kind of cool. It was a little bit different. You don't hear a lot of synths on here. And overall, I mean, this album is a really kind of complete package of prog metal and tech death. It really kind of goes all over the place. It's damn fun to listen to.
It was better than what I had expected. I had already expected it to be pretty good, but I thought it was going to stick more along the lines of tech death and not be as elemental as it was. And I didn't expect like proggy moments.
I did not expect it to be as adventurous as it was on the guitar fronts.
It 100% sounds like a band that Hannes Grossman would be in. And, I mean, you definitely hear, of course, the Obscura in there, the Alkaloid, maybe not Triptychon as much, but you hear bands that he would definitely play in, and, I mean, honestly, it sounds like he's had an influence on all of them, just in his drum style, but apparently composition as well. So he's a hell of a musician.
Hell of a nasty drummer, too.
Yeah.
Woo.
So, overall, I'm going to give this album a 4.5. I really enjoyed this album. This collection of musicians are top-notch. They were able to execute Grossman's vision incredibly well, in my opinion, although I guess I don't have a really original starting point considering I don't know his vision. But damn, did I think it sounded good. If I had a minor gripe, it would be maybe the production. I would have personally preferred it differently, but that's not that big of a deal. It didn't ruin the experience for me by any necessities. It's just a preference thing. So overall, 4.5. Excellent playing, excellent songwriting, melodic, shreddy, feels, groove, pelvic thrusting, vigorously.
Missed that
I did.
part.
I wasn't watching.
That's probably for the best.
I'm thankful for that. 4.5 for me too. I thought this was a killer album. There's not a song on here that I didn't like. And again, if I also had a minor gripe, it would again be production. But I mean, that's a personal preference for me. But yeah, this is a great record. It was better than I expected it to be, and I already had high expectations. So go get this, go jam it, listen to it, play it for everyone you know,
including Grandma.
I don't know if Grandma's going to get into this, but I did.
Try.
And I'm going to give it 4 stars. I dig this overall. My complaints mostly are about the production, some of the vocals. The playing across the board is fantastic, and as well it should be. These are high caliber musicians. And I did not know how, good Hannes Grossman was outside of his drum work. Apparently, he's amazing at composition, and I imagine if he did produce this, he did a pretty good job.
He's got a couple of instructional DVDs.
I imagine he's got quite a few. But I love the nods to Melodeath on there, mixed in with the flat-out techie stuff. The Fountain, I think, is a huge standout on here. I would have loved to hear more like that, honestly. One other song like that, because that just showed a completely different side of his project. Granted, this is my first exposure to his project, and this makes you want to actually check out all the other albums that he's done. So yeah, 4 stars. This is a banger. There are only 500 copies of the CD available on Bandcamp, so I'm going to have to get on there and order one and wait a long time for it to get overseas. So yeah, go get it.
So, if you like the review, please hit the thumbs up button and hit the subscribe button if you're not already, because it notifies you of when we release awesome content, which is pretty much on the daily. Also, we are now on Patreon.
Yay.
If you would like to help build this community and help shitheads like us continue to bring you stuff like this, check the link down below.
We also have a giveaway going on here for when we hit 6,000 subscribers. Now, first of all, thank you. Thank you to all of you. Many blessings from the Thralls tribe here. Anyway, if you comment on that video for that giveaway, all you have to do is comment, and it automatically enters you. And then when we hit 6,000, which should be pretty soon, we'll use a little randomizer thingy, and the lucky winner will be the recipient of 4 CDs.
A nice little package.
And I think a Thralls of Metal sticker.
Oh, we'll throw out a
some
sticker.
crap. So
Some crap.
Some crap. Some Thralls of
crap.
Metal crap.
I'll make a mystery box out of the things that are in the laundry room.
Oh my.
Lint and cat poop. You don't want it.
And lost socks.
And a lot of both. And lost socks.
Oh yeah, there's probably a couple lost socks.
There's actually probably, I haven't lived here in a long time, and there's probably, I'd That's where my socks went.
So with that, we thank you very much, and we will catch you later.